Hello!
Just Mrs. Doubtfire here.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going, everyone? We are making a video today that I always say is going to be quick. Probably won't, but it might be quick today. But a lot has been going on. Timestamps down below because we're going to kind of go over a couple different things. Yeah, I mean, we will get right into it. The summer series happened last week. The first game was on June 10th, USA versus Portugal. And so this was going to be, these three games were going to help decide Vlatko, the coaching staff, who was going to make the Olympic roster. So these three games were so important. Oh, I will say during this video, what we're going to do, we're going to go over the games really quick. And then we're going to kind of talk about the roster. We're going to read from an article who's on the bubble, who's going to make it. And then we're going to read some people's predictions I read online that we're going to go over. So that's what we're going to do. June 10th, USA versus Portugal. Going into that game, I mean, I heard Portugal, you know, were a good team, okay team, but then I read somewhere that they were like number 20 in the world or something. But they really gave the U.S. a run for their money.
Yeah, they were holding it down.
Yeah,
something was happening.
Sam Mewis did not score until the 76th minute. Going into the 76th minute, it was 0-0. They gave USA a run for their money. Also, before the game, Alexi Lalas was doing some commentary about the game, and he was smack talking Carli. You remember?
Hater. Yeah, I do. I gave him the evil eye, even though he didn't see me. But he knew.
And he, you know, and he says in some of his commentary, he smack talks Carli Lloyd because it makes her a better player. She watches everything. She reads all commentary. She reads all predictions about herself, and it makes her a better player.
If I say something about her, will she?
Hey, you never know. So Carli, she scored / it was offside. And did you see she kind of had a like smug, like, oh yeah, I scored look after she was done scoring?
Oh yeah. I loved her little celebration.
Yeah. And the commentators actually did not even, it took them a while to realize that they actually was not a goal. It was an offsides.
Yeah,
but that was a good game.
We were all shook.
I will be completely honest. I'm not entirely sure who started those games, but we're not really going to talk about that because Vlatko was trying out a lot of different things. A lot of different people started. A few people went the full 90s. A lot of people were subbed in and out. Mm-hmm. But I did think it was interesting, some of the things he was doing. Okay. So the second game, USA versus Jamaica. And this game, I think going into this game also, you know, Jamaica, I'm not quite sure where they stand in the world, but it's a team that's going to be competitive, but you never know. Is it going to be an easy win? Is it going to be a hard win? First off the bat,
yeah,
Carli was pissed off from the last game.
Last game, she's like, "Give me a goal." And 20 what seconds?
28 seconds.
28 seconds. Not even 30 seconds.
Not even 30 seconds.
And she blesses us with a goal.
And a goal. And it was
yummy, yummy.
She was pissed off. You know, I thought Carli looked pretty good all the games. I don't think she looked amazing, but I think she looked worthy of the team being on the Olympic roster. I thought she looked good.
Thank you for saying that.
I did. Then in that same game, Lindsay Horan scored on a PK. Then Midge scored. That was all before the first half. And then Alex Morgan scored in added stoppage time. So
okay, nice.
She scored. I mean, I think Alex Morgan, again, when we talk about who thinks we're going to be on the roster and who's not going to be on the roster, Alex Morgan is a lock. She's not being on the roster. She will be on that Olympic roster.
She's a Loch Ness monster.
Yeah. And I will say, a lot of players that we saw play, we're going to read in this article, a lot of them are locks. And I know when you say something's a lock, is it really a lock? And for all intents and purposes, they are.
It's a lock.
Kristen Press, there's no way, unless she gets injured, is not going to be on that roster. Alex Morgan, there's no way. Becky, there's no way. So there are people who will 100% be on the roster, and Alex Morgan is one of those people.
I think Kelly O'Hara, too.
I think so, too. But Jamaica 4-0. I mean, that game was it was pretty lopsided. I mean, U.S. had 73% of the possession. And Vlatko was doing a lot of different things. Okay, so let's go to the game that was just the other night, Nigeria, 2-0. Again, that was a game. Nigeria's a tough team, though. So it is a tough team. You just never know where it's going to go. Our girl, Kristen Press, scored an extra time.
Stoppage time in the first half, yep.
Kristen looked really good. I mean, I don't think there's a question that Kristen's not going to be on teams. But going on with that, it's kind of like, what are all these individual players who are locks? What are they doing in regards to making themselves the best player out there that they can be? So even though Christen Press...
Standout player, if
yeah.
you will.
Even though Christen Press will be on that team, she is vying for a starting position. Alex Morgan is vying for a starting position. At this moment in time, in my head, Christen Press will be starting on the Olympic roster. Starting. Then...
That was beautiful.
Thanks. Then, it was a competitive game. It was kind of a chippy game.
Chippy?
Game. It was. My favorite ref, mine and your favorite ref, Katja Korleva.
No, I have another favorite ref. I don't know her name.
I really like her reffing style generally, but I think she kind of...
She was making some wild calls.
She was kind of wild, wasn't she?
She was a little controversial.
And she was kind of against the United States. There was that kind of scrum with Kristie mewis when she stepped on the goalkeeper's arm. And a lot of people are saying, no, you can't do that. But I think that just showed how badly Kristie wants to be on the Olympic roster. I think that was...
willing to fight WWE style.
Yeah. Her and Lindsay, man. Because Lindsay's... And Emily. It's on it.
I was going to say, who's Emily?
It's on it. They're like the enforcers. Like in hockey, there's enforcers.
Oh, yeah.
They're like the enforcers. But...
mean muggers.
Kristie is one of those people who really, really, really are vying to get on that team. But overall, it was a kind of a chippy game. And United States, but they need those matches. You know what I mean? They need those matches to kind of see where they go from there.
Yeah, gotta show Vladdy what you got.
Yeah, and to see during the Olympic Games, these matches that are going to happen in the Olympic Games are going to be the toughest of the tough. But they ended up winning. And then Lynn Williams. Let's talk about Lynn for a second. I think some people think she's on the bubble, and I think some people think she's not on the bubble. We're going to talk about it in a second, but a lot of people think, depending on if Vlatko takes 5 forwards or 6 forwards, it all depends on what positioning he sees, where his eye sees, where some of these people could be bubble players, could not be bubble players. But she scores in stoppage time on 90 plus 4 minutes, and it was a beauty. She was so fresh out there. It was hot out there. I'm assuming it was Texas heat wave. She scored. So that's her case. A lot of people give her guff. We have too, saying she hasn't connected. She connected. Did that help her standing?
But she hasn't really proven that she can keep that consistency up. So
okay. So
we'll see.
That goes into the Olympic roster. From what I can tell, Vlatko and his coaching staff are making the decisions based on these games. You have to make the decision based on the big games, who can perform on the big stage, meaning an actual game. But they're also deciding through the closed door practices.
I was going to say, yeah.
So a lot of things we are not privy to seeing, a lot of things we'll never see. They make the decisions. But going along with that, who can perform in the actual game? You know what I mean?
Right. That's what it comes down to.
That's like Pinoe. Pinoe is like a big game player. She loves those moments. She loves those moments.
She lives for the moment.
I thought Pinoe looked pretty good during the matches. Some people say she looked a little winded. She looked a little, she's not Carli Lloyd. She's not, the most physically fit out there. Oh, the other thing I will say, third game, the new kits. What did you think of the new kits?
I don't know, medium rare right now. Like the front, I kind of dig. It's okay, yeah. And then the back, it's just...
It looks like there's something on top of it or something. I like a vest. They're wearing a vest on top of it.
So
I like them. I like
okay.
I like the structure of them. I like them. The back is a little weird, but I still like the structure of them, the colors. I read somewhere online that someone said they didn't like it because people don't like that none of the lines connect on the kit. They're just kind of they end randomly.
They like an even looking crisp jersey.
Exactly. But I like them. I think they look really nice. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to read from an article that just came out today from The Athletic, who we've read from before. And we're going to kind of read what they think, because I want to hear you guys. I want to hear everyone's comments down below who they think is on the bubble, who definitely is going to be there. And because 18 slots, not many slots, and it's going to be tough. So I'm going to have Sarah read.
U.S. Women's National Team Olympic Roster Bubble Watch. Who has strengthened their case and who could be the tough exclusions? After 3 summer series, friendlies, and 3 wins, the U.S. Women's National Team has completed their last evaluation period before the Olympics. The U.S. will play 2 more friendly send-off games in July, but the Olympics roster is due before that, based on previous performance and Vlatko and Andonovski's clear preferences in
starting
lineups. A good dozen or so of the 18 available roster spots have been considered locks for months, and Andonovski has spoken in pre- and post-game press conferences about known quantities, particularly in reference to players like Tobin Heath, who's still rehabbing an injury. The bubble players we saw most frequently over the summer series might counterintuitively be the least likely to go to Japan in the framework, since the more they played, the more one could assume Andonovski needed to evaluate them instead of already knowing what they offer his Olympic roster. For example, Lynn Williams barely got on the field over the course of the 3 games, but there is plenty of data on how she plays within Andonovski's preferred systems and how to maximize her skill set, particularly in the high press or in exploiting space behind. With that in mind, let's go to the bubble watch. Okay, so locks. Goalkeepers, Alyssa Nair, Adriana French. Defenders, Abidal Kemper, Crystal Dunn, Kelly O'Hara, Becky Sauerbrunn. Based on how they lined up for a lot of 2021, Dunn, Sauerbrunn, Dahlkemper, O'Hara seemed to be one of Andonovski's preferred starting defensive lines, with other players swapping in and out of the center back and the right back positions. Midfielders, Lindsay Horan, Rose Lavelle, Sam Mewis. Yeah, I mean, just look at them play. Forwards, Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, Kristen Press, and Megan Rapinoe. Morgan is in good form, Press is in great form. Andonovski called her more complete after the Nigeria game, and Lloyd and Rapinoe are known as quantity, as it gets with Andonovski. I don't think Lloyd was ever truly on the bubble. There's simply too much weight on her experience and her tendency to pop up in big games. That's 14 predicted locks, so let's quibble over the last 4 spots.
Yeah, so if you go from from what this article says, those are the locks in the article, and a lot of people's minds, those are the locks.
Yeah, I agree. I would have to agree with those.
I can't disagree with them. So
would you say you're agreeing?
Agree, yeah.
Increasingly likely to go. Okay, so there's a spectrum of players in this category. There are players who seem to have made some cases for themselves and checked things off on Andonovski's list, but there's 99% likely but not sure to be there on one end, and more likely to go, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut because the roster limits are so vicious on the other. So these players are increasingly likely to go. Defenders, Emily Sonnet, Tierna Davidson, and Midge Purce. Sonnet feels almost like a lock after seeing Andonovski play her both at right back in the number 6 role for a bit, which ticks the boxes for positional versatility, coverage for Julie Ertz, who is working her way back from a knee injury and giving them a tactical option to get Horan into a higher position. Andonovski told the media that the summer series he believes Ertz will be ready to play in the Olympics, so that makes the decision more speculative than if she was solidly out. But the ability to take a fullback and shift into a 3-back is something Andonovski mentioned after the game against Nigeria as a plus for him. Davidson and Purce are slightly more wobbly, but they both have their clear benefits. Davidson can play inside and outside, and Andonovski specifically evaluated Purce over 90 minutes against Jamaica in 2 positions. After the game, he said, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Midge was in as a forward and finished the game as a defender for a reason. We wanted to see the versatility, and we wanted to see how well she'll be able to adjust to it. It was obvious in the first half that she was dangerous, scored a great goal, and that's something we're aware of. On the flip side, Andonovski also said about Purce, she could have been just a little bit more patient in reading the place of the game. But that patience is something he applied to everyone after the Jamaica game, saying that even after the 3rd goal, the team continued rushing the attacks and there was no need for it. Increasingly likely to go, Tobin, Heath, and Julie Ertz.
Yeah, I mean, we'll link the article down below, but I don't think it just depends on how healthy they are. If they are healthy, they are going. But we talked in the past, is an 80% Tobin Heath healthy enough to go over another player? Same with Julie Ertz, and that's a decision they'll have to make. But I think if Vlatko thinks that they can impact the team, even percentage-wise, those are 2 of the best players in the world. And then increasingly liking to go forwards, Lynn Williams. Honestly, before Williams came into this game, I thought she might be out. But this was an extremely pointed reminder that she knows what she's good at. Vlatko knows what she's good at and where she executes well and can leave teams with their heads spinning. So that's talking about the goal. That was the last reminder of what Lynn can do. And there you go.
She wanted people to know.
Exactly. Increasingly unlikely to go. We might not read all this part of it.
We can just mention the players.
Yeah. Increasingly unlikely to go. They think Alana Cook. Yeah, Alana Cook hasn't been playing as much. It says right here, development is a major factor in choosing the roster because it's almost not fair for the younger players if you don't take any of them into consideration. Because if we're not taking experiences into consideration as one of the factors, we have to take care of development on the other side. So Alana Cook is one of those players. And then it says right here, space is tight and tournament schedule is grueling. Development may have to be limited to 1 or 2 new players. 1 or 2 players who are ready to take the next step out of the development phase. And she must be one of those. Then it says increasingly unlikely to go.
Midfielders Andy Sullivan, Caterina Macario, and Christie Mewis.
Which is so funny because I keep reading. A lot of people are saying, depending on how Vlatko goes with it, a lot of people are saying it's going to be Kristie or Caterina. Like a lot of the predictions have either Kristie or Caterina. So that's interesting that this article is saying that they're both increasingly not to go. And that goes back to where, Vlatko is, how many people he's taking per position, what he sees in the future. But it's interesting they're saying that this one says they don't think they're going to take either Caterina or Kristie. So it says right here, Macario is in the same pool as Cook. She would clearly go on a 23-man roster. And if we're talking about the one player who you want to develop, perhaps that's Macario, whose ceiling is so very high. But she's not quite at the same level as Cook in terms of readiness to make the starting 18. As for Kristie, this article author says they have waffled back and forth on her many times. She's shown a clear ability to live in the left half space and put herself in the creative positions. And Andonovsky has said he likes that she's aggressive and can make plays to let herself and others go in behind multiple times. And then also it says unlikely to go Sophia Smith. Same kind of thing. She's young. They can't have too many developmental roster players on this roster because they don't have the space.
Right.
And then
that's understandable.
We'll link this article down below, but it says too many players are too good, and that's the dilemma. That's what's talking about the dilemma.
That's the truth. That's what's up.
So, let me ask you this.
I don't know what I'm saying.
What players? Give me a few players that you absolutely want to see make the squad.
Kristen Press.
Okay. Carli.
Alex Morgan. Carli.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely Rose Lavelle. Lindsay Horan.
Okay.
And I know you like Sam because she's tall. Crystal Dunn, obviously. Kelly O'Hara, Becky.
And then, so for me, if there's any long shot player I want to see make it, it's Kristie. But do I think her as being a long shot, it deserves it over other people? / if it is between her and Caterina, who would you take if it would be based on what I keep hearing around the web? A lot of times people, depending on the way it's going to go, if it's between Kristie and Caterina, who would you choose?
Kristie?
Based on those 3 games, even the second game against Jamaica when Caterina started, it was like people kept saying she didn't live up to expectation for that game. It said who's on the up and who's on the down, and a lot of people said she was disappointing in that game. Kristie, although she was a little more wild in the second game, she really was, doing things. But like they said, Caterina is the future. 1,000% she is the future.
Yeah, she'll definitely have her time to shine.
So and they have to develop her though too. So what I did here, so I just Googled predictions online and I came across this website, and I'm going to go through 3 of these people's, and I'll put their names. I'll link the website down below, and I will link their article down below. But I have 3 different people's predictions who are going to make the team. So let's look at these predictions, and then let's see if we agree or think it's crazy. Okay, so this person called Olivia Alongi. Goalkeepers, Alyssa and 80. The defenders, Becky, Crystal, Kelly, Abby, Midge. Midfielders, Lindsay, Sam, Rosie, Kristie, Andy. So this person chose 2 of the players that the other article said were on the bubble that they didn't think were, but this person says on there. Forwards, Carli, Alex, Christen, Megan, Tobin, and Sophia Smith. So that's interesting. This person still doesn't think Julie Ertz is going to be healthy enough. So that's an interesting. What do you guys think about that out there? Okay, read that one.
Okay, this is from C. Rivers.
Yeah.
I mean, goalkeepers seem to be all the same.
Yeah, they do all seem to be the same, yeah.
Defenders, Becky, Crystal, Abby, Kelly, Sonnet, Caterina. Midfielders, Julie, Lindsay, Sam, Roosevelt, Caterina. Forwards, Carli, Alex, Kristen Press, Megan Rapinoe, and Tobin. Alternates, Jane Campbell, Alana Cook, Christie Mewis, and Midge Purse.
Yeah, so that person thought maybe Vlatko would only take 5 forwards. So that's interesting as well. Okay, one more prediction going down.
See, I think he's going to take more forwards.
You do. Okay. Let's read this person's prediction.
So, defenders, Becky, Caterina, Crystal, Kelly, Abby, Sonnet. Midfielders, Lindsay, Sam Mewis, Roosevelt, Kristie, and Julie Ertz. Forwards, Carli, Alex, Kristen, Megan Rapinoe, Midge Purse. Alternates, Sullivan, Tobin Heath, Sophia Smith, Caterina Macario.
Interesting. So that person thought maybe Midge would slide in there as a forward. And as a forward, so there's so many things. There's so many different ways.
So many possibilities.
Yes, and that's
endless possibilities.
At the end of the day, I guess what I would want to see is so according to this, the announcement will probably be next week.
Ooh.
Oh, I feel like we should do like a full list. Maybe depending on what the comments say on this video, maybe we'll make a video officially giving our predictions after the comments on this video.
It's too much pressure.
I know. I just don't know. I will say. I want to see Kristen there, Carli. A lot of these people didn't choose Lynn Williams on the squad. That could have been before yesterday. I guess I will say the one bubble player I want to see is Kristie. That's the one bubble player I think I want. Even if, like, say Sonnet was a bubble player in somebody's mind, I would want to see Sonnet. But I mean, it's gonna be crazy. But like I said, Becky's gonna be on the team. Crystal Dunn's gonna be on the team. Kristen Press is gonna be on the team. Alex Morgan. There's so many people that are locks. Bubble player that I want to see is Kristie, and that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. However, the actual lineup, the way they do it, me, Sarah, and I actually might do an official prediction, or maybe in the next couple days we will. What do you guys think? This has been a very long video, and I think it should be interesting to see what happens. I think no matter who it is, though, I do think that everyone chosen has to be versatile. It's going to be a tough tournament. I do think that, we will see. What do you guys think? We talked a lot during this video. I want to hear you guys' predictions. And like I said, I haven't been good on responding to comments the last couple of videos just because we have been very busy moving and we're in the process of moving. Let us know what you think. We will look forward to reading the comments because I'm very interested to see what people think.
Yeah, me too.
And it's like one of the things, is there fan favorites, and a lot of things like Tobin Heath, is she going to be healthy? Is Julie Ertz going to be healthy? Those are a lot of questions we just don't know. Questions, comments down below. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.
Bye.